Hello and welcome to another episode of Detailed Altcoin Analyses. And for this episode, let's take a look at ByteCoin, ticker symbol BCN. On BCN within CoinMarketCap, it is ranked number 27 amongst the cryptocurrencies in the CoinMarketCap. The market cap is in that of a total close to $500 million, $477 million, or a little over 75,000 Bitcoin. The volume is very low, $3.6 million per day, or 588, at least when you compare it to the other coins trading on for larger amounts. The circulating supply and max supply practically the same, and just a small microscopic amount differential. I cannot say the reason why because I don't know. However, there is 185 billion almost as its maximum supply. Where can you find this traded? Well, its top spot, surprisingly, would be that of HitBTC. And I say that because if HitBTC is in the same market with either Bittrex or Binance, and even Poloniex to a degree, I would expect them to be higher. But we have, when you include the US Tether and the Bitcoin cross, almost 2.5 million, 2.4 million within volume. On Binance, we take 840 plus this, that's a little over 1 million. So noticeably less, half as much, even close to a third of the volume is on that of Binance. On Poloniex, 86,000 against Bitcoin and $747 only. So again, on Poloniex, not much volume at all. All right, let's look at the chart. We'll start off with the US dollar. And then against Bitcoin, we're going to go back in time and just see how well on the buy low, sell high strategy it would work out. Within this market, I ignore this down move. So as far as I'm concerned, this started off about 7420 as far as its price in the decimal. And it stayed along the sideways range with resistance at about 10,000 Satoshi against the dollar. And then the move, you go from, let's just put it this way, this is 1/100th of a penny to almost 2. So massive, massive gains. But since the point, or just looking at the move, what do I see on this weekly chart? You have your first move. How is the market going to settle this move? Well, obviously, it has now been a time frame of a little over a year. And the original support in which it established has been good. It hasn't even come down there. Although, if there's a decent leg lower, well, this might be the area I'd be looking for it to go towards. This high has not been support. That's the key thing that I'm looking for when a situation like this happens. But what it has done, it has managed to find a higher low support. For if I expected the early 2018 rally, the all-time high, to be that of the legitimate one, or for a legitimate move, I would be looking for support. And it obviously failed to do so here. But what did it do here? Well, it established support, came back to the band, and then it had a very good move. But it made a move well above the 18, but only one okay move, which matched this high. Okay, once again, try to find support here, and it's not doing that as of yet. So therefore, if there's going to be continuation down, as I've been stating, this would be the area I would be looking for. Because overall, the original rally that we talk about has held such in this kind of trend. And when these markets are ready to go, like we've seen with so many cryptos, case in point, 3 times, this thing going up from 4,600 Satoshi up to 571. Then from, we'll just now say 1/10 of a penny, 1% of a 10% of a penny, up to 1.7. So extreme gain again. And then from 1/5 of a penny to the same price again. So all of these wild moves bring a lot of opportunities for great profits within the markets. And whenever you see these moves come, this is where you want to take your profits. Whenever you have these spectacular gains. Now, most of the time, when you do this, if you are early on the sale, well, then you're still going to be okay. And if you sell in segments, then that doesn't matter, meaning you always keep yourself with a whatever amount, because we'll put it this way. If, say, you're worth 100 units here, and then it goes up to, say, 10, well, you're worth 200. Well, if you sell less than what your gain was, or equal to or less than your gain, then you can keep doing this until it goes to infinity, basically, within the math. So if this was at 200, well, I could sell, say, 80 and make it worth 120. And then if that doubles again where it's worth 240, then maybe I can sell maybe little less than half again, so it's worth, say, 140, and so on and so forth. Within the Bitcoin chart, we can see the same sort of deals. Now, this is a poor logarithmic chart. So while I have the coin market site, we'll take a look at it there for the analysis first. And on the chart here, I'm going to move it to a log scale. So there we have it. You can draw a nice little trend line that would hit practically exactly where it is. So this is at a 1, 2, 3rd time hit level from the March lows of last year. What I also find important is where I look at the resistance from pre-2017. I can see it here at 10 Satoshi. I can see it here at a little higher, and then here at over 30. So I want to see it hold between 10 and 30. So this support test succeeded. And even if it breaks this trend line, that doesn't mean it's all over, because that's what it needs to do to survive. And if it doesn't do it, thus it doesn't survive. No. But of course, it can be a little uneasy at different times. But as long as it can continue to hold this previous level of resistance, to me, it hasn't broken the trend. It is very choppy and very volatile, which is exactly why I want to start talking about the buy low, sell high strategy. So therefore, I got the spreadsheet, and I want to start August the 3rd, 2016 at 33 Satoshi. It's 42 right now. So that means if you bought it back then, you would be up about exactly 9 handle points. 3 makes about 10%. So you'd be up about almost 10% along the trade, or 30% rather. Not bad gains. We'll see how well this does. What I've done in here is I've made a quick little program where I can put in whether this is a buy or sell. In column A, how many, the amount, the the Satoshi price, and then all of this will automatically calculate on its own. So then, let's go back to that time frame. And we're going to put this in the daily chart. So we scroll back, we're going to see when you have these high moves, you're going to have spots where things are great, then they're going to be really scary. That's just the way it is. And the profit potentials, of course, is magnificent. As long as a coin doesn't continuously go down to pretty much nothing, then the strategy should always show some great moves. Now let's notice here. This is why sell orders are so important. A high of 179 on May the 31st, 2015. The price was in an uptrend before this. So that's what it looked like. A lot of good reason to think this, hey, this is a good time to go long, because you were basically playing around the 1 and 2 Satoshi barrier for quite some time, and then a nice little break in the start of April that got it up towards this point, April the 7th, 2015, and then maintaining a nice little pattern of higher lows. And also noticeable, this I find pretty cool, and that is before the event, you had this failed breakdown. So therefore, you see this, you got to know, oh man, I got to put my sell orders in. So what we're going to do is we're going to play a strategy where you want to have 2 buy orders and 3 sell orders at all times. Your first sell order is going to be the next level that you want to sell at. So not too far away from current price, but enough for good gains. The second would yield you moderate gains, and the third, monstrous gains. For in a situation here, with the price action at like 12.14, maybe you're looking to sell your first amount at about 20. Then you put another sell order around 54 or somewhere around there, and then you go like really big. Whether you would, and if you go really big, maybe you go 200, you miss. Maybe you got 160 and you hit. So that's sort of deal there. So again, I want to start with at the high, right in here. Let's just assume, don't know what I selected here. Nice little pink pattern. Now how do I get rid of it? There we go. So we're going to assume that you looked at the market here and it was on this day. You see it's breaking out, so you want to make a buy. And we'll do so at the most highest price of 33. So we use a spreadsheet. It's going to be 1 for a buy. The amount, well, I'm going to start with 0.05 Bitcoin. So you want to probably start with 30% or so of that. So just out of curiosity, 5,000 would be hardly anything at all. 22,000 is most certainly not enough. So we'll go with 50,000. So 50,000 buy at 33 Satoshi, which means your Bitcoin sum would be 0.0335, and you would have 50,000 of these coins. So now it's time to place buy orders and sell orders. So for a buy order, we're at 33. So maybe you want to go back at previous support. So you're going to put one down there. And then maybe one down towards this low at around 10. You want your second buy order to be much lower than your previous one. So now let's get your sell targets in place. And I know we're 33 was where we buy. So if you buy at 33, let's say you want to put your first sale at 48. Differential's 15 points, so you're getting a very, very good gain there. Maybe for the next one, where did I put my horizontal ray? 23, yeah, because 23 I'm buying at 23. Okay, well, we'll just let me just do this here. Yep, it would be this one here. Okay, so if we got one at 57, let's do something for about 100 or so. We've got another horizontal ray. And we'll just, I know it's never going to be needed, but technically speaking, I probably have this at around 300 to 600. All right then. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move it to current time frame, which is right here. So we're in the game, or where was the buy? The buy was right here. So you'd be waiting for a play, and we buy at 23. So therefore, what we're going to do is we're going to put in the buy-in for the number 1. Now, I'm not going to buy anywhere near that was bought before, but I definitely can afford to buy a decent amount. Let's say 25,000. I remember that because I had to edit my formula. Okay, so that brings it down to 277. So now 75,000 is the amount. So now I'm going to do here is adjust my orders. I got a buy order now for 15 and then for 7. So I'm going to sell a little cheaper now, maybe around 43. Move this down a little bit as well, maybe close to 77. The market would then fall to 16 for another buy. So therefore, probably buy about 35,000 now, which technically was cheaper at the 5.6 than the 5.8. Still, only a little over half your value has been invested in such. Again, lower the sell orders. And a buy order in at 10. We'll place that intact, lower the orders, and you'd be feeling, I would be a little scared. Oh my goodness, did I take the wrong coin? This is where a lot of people do panic, and they, of course, end up selling within the markets. But then you realize to yourself, these markets are supposed to go up and down. So when they go down, your portfolio takes a hit, but you build the ammunition you need for when the upruns come into play. Sell orders adjusted at 22, 48, and 134. Buy orders now at 5 and then at 2. And its next move would be another buy order. We can see it would hit on November the 27th. And if we buy, say, 70,000, it only costs 0.0035. You could even get away with maybe even 80,000, a bit more, 0.04. So now almost $250,000 of these things you're holding. That's almost 5 times more than you started. You haven't even had a sell order hit yet. With the price action in at 5 Satoshi at that time, I would have one buy order, maybe 2 at the 2 and 1 Satoshi level at this point. Maybe you could consider the 3 number. But 17 sell order from a 5 buy order is better than 3x. And you can get away with putting sell orders in at 7 and 8 and play around with the small swings. But we're going to use 17 and 41 as the next 2 sell orders. So ignore it if it hits the 4, but not if it hits the 2. And there we have a sell order hit at 17. How many of them would you sell? Well, we're in a situation where you are selling for about triple. So you'd want to go close to half. If you go 100,000, you would receive 0.017, which means you now have 0.03 Bitcoin, and we'll move on. Place a buy order at 9, sell order at 31 and 78. And there'd be the 9 hit. So if you sold at 17, bought back at 9, that's pretty much half off, and you sold 100,000. I like to buy in between, because if I go double, that's like 180, but not quite that much. Maybe go 130,000 more. And the cost would be 0.0117, which is lower than the sale of 0.17, and yet you're getting 30,000 for free. So we'll place this buy order maybe back to 5. This sell order from 31, I'm going to drop this one. I don't know where I'm going to drop that one to, but we'll put this one, say, at 55. And I'd want to put this one right before previous high at 23. And of course the 5 would hit. If you buy 150,000 of them, you'd be left with 0.01 Bitcoin. Not much buying power left. But you're also at very low prices. It can only go down to 1. So we'll ignore the 5 number the rest of the way. I'm not going to move that. But I am going to lower the sell order. If you're buying at 5, maybe you put a line up around this area here at 14. And again, I'm just going to lower that a little bit too. And again, 5 is just to be ignored on this line because there is no order there. The buy order would be 2. Okay. So this is why you'd want to have multiple sell orders. If you came out there of the day, you would see the prices at 25 and you would have had 2 sell orders filled that day. So the first one, so just like before, you don't want to sell half, so maybe like 200,000. That would leave you with 220. Now you know this when you're making the orders, that would leave you with that. So in this case here, you're doing a little bit more than double again. So why not do about half, maybe 100,000? Now notice your bankroll. You have 0.07 Bitcoin. If you wanted to, you could just pull the 0.05, leave 0.0208 for buy orders, and now you can't lose. And these are the type of strategies, I think it might be a little too early to do such, but different things that you can think about along the way. Now you'd have the question here, you sold at 32, do you want to buy back at 25? I personally wouldn't. If you sold maybe up to about the 40 area, then maybe I might. But now how do we transfer the buys? I want 2 buy orders in to replenish the 32. Then I think I'm going to probably use the 14 number. So that would be, oh, what did I just do? 2017. Did I go back? Yeah, here we are. So basically what I would do is I would have a buy order at 14 and then one at about 10. No, not 10. At about, in this area here, like 5. So now my new sell orders. At this stage here, the market is going exuberantly large. So I'd have to be very strategic here. And where I would place them? Well, this would go up a bit. If I'm selling at 32 last, maybe we'll go some around. I know it's not going to hit. A buy order is going to come. but you don't know that at the time. So maybe have one at like 58, and then you really want to go pretty aggressive on this, maybe 123. And technically speaking, I'd probably go up to about 300 even, 400 on this one. But I'm not going to move it there because it's pointless. So the next day, it would have hit the 14 buy. So technically speaking, if I buy double what I sold the last time, which was 100,000, it cost me 2.8 after getting 3.2. I usually like better gains, so if I do 160, that would work out well. Now what I would go from here is I would look at my sell order. I'm going to lower this one down a bit. But where did we sell last time? No, not where did we sell. Where did the market move to? I'm just going to move this underneath because I'm selling underneath this line. So if I'm going to be selling in the 30s, then I'm okay with that being at 86. And really that should be way high still. Because what I want to do is I want to sell lower high. Because oftentimes these markets will make that move and thus make a lower high if it's going to sell off. And if it's going to be bullish, that's just going to be a pretty good area. Now, considering it's 14, I probably may go around 33. If this market at this stage were to settle down a bit around some sort of area, I'd probably reduce the sell order later on. But when you got a wild rampant market that is going to have extra volatility, it's not a bad idea yourself to put that in your own ballpark as well. I'm going to increase my buy order from 5 to about 7. Because from 7, you're talking, even 6, because it's half off. So I want to be a bit better than half off. So as we move forward, now we're not going to see that then, but you'd get a sale order at 33 here. And in this case, you'd be able to get up to 40. But that's why you want to do a little bit under previous high. And since the inventory was 280,000, a little under half of that is 120, which means a return of almost 4% Bitcoin. And thus now 0.0879 in the sum, plus of course owning 160,000 of these. I'm using rake of 0.15%. Given this was Poloniex, and that's what the maker rake at least was in 2017. And now it's been reduced to 0.1%. Okay, so now let's put a buy order in. You sold at this level again. We've got very aggressive moves, so maybe you'd want to put it back to where it came from in this area, maybe even a little lower in the deeper part at around the 16, 15 handle even. And then move this back up to 5 or 6. The new sell order, it's got to be at a new high level. So I would probably go somewhere around 58. Move that up to about 120 is good. And there's where 58 would hit. But notice what happens here. You're at 58, but it's at 105 at the end of the day. So if I were to just log on the computer that day, I would have notifications, sell order success. I would see on the ticker that it's up like 125%. And I'm like, holy, you know what? And yes, I'd be probably selling at 105. And I'm just going to hypothetically say every day at close is when you look at the computer, and you'd basically, in real life, you could do it once a day very easily. It's like brushing your teeth. It's just something you do every day that doesn't take long. Now here's a situation you sold for less than 100% gain. So therefore, I need to sell much, much lower than half. So I'm going to go 50,000, which would be 50, 60,000. And if you're holding 110,000 and the price just almost doubled on you, I'd probably go about 30 or 35,000. And I know I should put 30 because I see the market's going to go up after that, but you just don't know that. Now I got a bankroll of 0.15 Bitcoin. So looking pretty good. Now when you have a move as monstrous as this, you can be very greedy into your buy order. You put one back around here at 33 or 36. After a move like that, now if this thing just scorches higher, another sell order will come in and then you'll raise it then. And again, if volatility can shrink and settle and stabilize in this, then you would change your buy order to accommodate such. So 36 in here, and then maybe in this range now at about 14 as your buy orders. So so the sell orders, we got to move 3 of them up. So the 58, 120 up. Man, that sucks. So let's just move the 58 up to here for now. And so if you're at over 100 and you have major volatility, let's first put your biggest one close to 1,000 now. We're going to be selling around 200 as the next one. Maybe even a little bit better because of the extreme volatility. 240. And then because again, maybe just go somewhere around 630. And technically I'd probably go about 500 and change. And this would actually be well over 1,000, but I know it's not going to hit it there. Okay, so then what do we see happen? We see a move that goes to 240. Now advanced analysis says sometimes you just sell everything, but what happens if it just keeps going? So I'm not going to do that. When it gets way, way high, you know these markets are very choppy. Half of this is about 35 to 40,000, so let's just do 35,000 or 30,000 again. Or 30, not again, but just a little under half. The price number was 240. %22 of a Bitcoin, not bad. So now let's put some buy orders in. And my first one I want to do in this consolidation range here, so probably a hair over 100. And then for the one above that, I'd probably go somewhere around this resistance field at around 39. Now, I would raise my sell orders. I'm not going to on here because I know the high is 280. So I know this is the high. But you don't know that as a trader. So let's just wait to see this go for the buy order, which is right here at 100. Maybe you buy 50,000. You received 0.07 the last sale. You just spent 0.05. And you also gained 20,000 of these tokens as well. So now my lower sell order would be, again, I'm going to do the same thing I did before, a decent lower high. So maybe around 212. I'm going to keep my next buy order at 39 area. And I'm going to lower this to this range in here at around 15. So you wait, you wait, you wait. You had a trade, of course, occur in here in May. And did this hit the 39? Low 40. Nope, doesn't count. But that one sure will. There's your buyback at 39. So we're getting the buyback on this one. It was 35,000. So we could probably, and this is well more than half off. So we could probably get away with, say, 60,000. Still got 15% of a Bitcoin and over 155,000 of these. So now let's adjust the orders. This one's going to come down lower, of course. So if we're buying at 39, we've got big volatility. We'll maybe put a sell order back to where it came from around here at 104. Let's get the other one. This one here. Previous high on that one. As far as where my buy orders would be, I'm going to stick with the 16. And also that 5 number, or 6 or 7. No, I'd probably go about 5 or 6. Because I know that was a big, big key level. There we go, the 5. So now we'll see what the next trade is. And it's a buy at 16. And that means we're getting the buyback for this trade. Sell at 58, buy at 16. Let's do a little more than double, because this is better than 3x down. It's closer to even 4x. So therefore, let's just do 110,000. 120, yeah, 110. And what was that price again? 16. So it cost us 0.0176 and we received 0.029, and yet we gained 60,000. 265,000 inventory. We had 280 here, but getting the inventory count back up. And of course, we're now moving into the time frame of the end of 2017. I mean, you don't know it, but here you are standing November of last year, and we're going to have a December rally amongst the entire crypto space. So where would you sell your orders? You sold at 16. Key area where it came from here at about 43. And I would most likely after that go about 99. Now I'm not going to lower it, but my higher sell order probably be somewhere around 500 at this stage, for 4 to 500. And even this I might lower a couple basis points. And by the way, that doesn't hit because I'd have to lower it. If it comes down, I got that other buy order, but so there you go. There's a sell order at 42. So half is about 130,000, which means we probably should have bought more considering we bought just 110. But that's what it is. You know what? No, let's just sell the entire amount. Now let's adjust the orders. Again, I have to backtrack just to get the price pivot points. So for F42, where do we come from? Generally this area here. Say around 21. And then this I would just have lower. We'll put it there. New sell order. Well, we sold at 42. Where's some key places in which it came from? I guess we'll take around the 94 number. Place this at a previous high. And just keep it as is. See, if you would have sold up here, I could have bought back already. There's your sale at 94. And we'll keep the pattern of selling more than for greater than 100% gain, but liquidating almost half. And it was 90 something, I think. 94. So now a quarter of a Bitcoin and 80,000 of these coins remaining. Which means a buyback. Well, where's a key place where it came from? I'd have to say here. Maybe put this at 52. And maybe put this at around key resistance at about 22. As far as the new sell order is concerned, maybe below this double hit previous high at about 172. But I would technically, I know it's not going to hit, so I have this higher, but there's no real need for me to be too specific with the order, given that I know it already hits. But in real life, you don't know what's going to happen. You just know that the mathematical strategy to this game, as I'm showing you, is going to pay off if you got a lot of good up and down choppy volatility. And there's the buy. And look how long it takes to get there, like a week and change. Not long at all. 52 is the buy. So for buying at 52, 100,000. You can see it cost us 5.2. We got 704 for the last one. And there we go. So for my orders, I'm going to leave the previous buy order. Actually, I'm going to raise it just a little bit. Up to about 25. And then down here, the new buy order for about 10. So I can reduce my sell order a little bit. If I go below this high, that's probably 111. That would be a close to double. I'll take it. And then this would now be a lower high move, somewhere around here. So the market moves. It looks like this is 26. No, it's even 25. So that's a hit. That's a hit because we have a buy order at 25 and the low says such. And we're getting this buyback, which was 42. So a differential of 17 basis points. Not the greatest of gains compared to the lot before, but maybe go like 140,000, 30,000 more. And in this case, you would have had a decent gain, but now 16.3% of a Bitcoin, 320,000 of these things. 100,000 lower than the highest it's been. So doing pretty good. And in placing new orders, I'm going to look more towards the bottom of this support at 16, which means I'd go back to like the 5-6 number. That'd be my buys, like 16 and then of 6. I would reduce this to about this little key area here, maybe about 57. And then maybe put this, I want more than double, so in this middle of this congestion area, about 144. And there's a sell order at 57. So having 320,000, let's sell about 150,000 of them. Or 140, that's what we did last time, when the number was higher than the last buy. So we'll move this buy order down to 32 and 13. Sell order, previous high. Which means this one would move up a bit too. We'll do that one at previous high as well. And even this I want a bit lower, maybe even 28. Okay, so there you have the 110 hit. And at the time, it would have closed at 129. You would have seen it up to 200, but you missed out on it. No sell order there. Or as the Seinfeld episode says, no soup for you. Although in this case, maybe not that time, but I've had a lot of soup over the run here. 110 sell order. And with 180,000 supply, you can do 80,000. So now you got 33%. 1/3 of a Bitcoin and still 100,000 of these tokens available. Let's put a buy order in at, say, we were at 110. So maybe this little area here around 50. Move this up just a little bit to 20. So as far as the sell orders are concerned, well, if it did get to 200 before, we just sold at 100, I'd be putting it under the intraday previous high. Which means, well, that number would go higher too, but it's just not going to make it there. I know that already. But I'd have another sell order probably about 350, and then again well over 1,000 to 2,000 even. So then, time goes on, and there's a buy order at 48. And notice the time. This is like now, so it's over. So that's where you'd stand. So this is row number 28, and I didn't count the first 2 or 3. So about 25 transactions along the way. I think it was 58. 48, better. Too close to double, 150. So here we stand with 250,000 of these, 0.25 Bitcoin. Now in reality, you would have done stuff with that Bitcoin. You would have invested it into other codes. You would have profit taken of it. Different things like that along the way. But we're using an example for how this strategy works. Working with the volatility, but working with the patience, not getting flattered on the way down like it's just going to keep going lower, because it's going to go up, it's going to go down, and there's going to be wild swings along the way. So then, if you got 1/4 of a Bitcoin just in such, how much would 250,000 of them be worth? Well, let's just assume you were to sell them all, just to see. What's the current price now? I think it's about the same. 42. %36 of a Bitcoin your investment would be worth, which means you would have outperformed the Bitcoin market by better than 7 times. And of course, your gains against the fiat currency on top of that as well. To put this into perspective, the original buy was at 33, and the current price is at 42. So I'm not going to say normal. Any normal investment of just buying and holding, and we'll assume you even put the whole thing in on the 0.05. Well, then now you'd be worth, what, 0.07, something around there? Nothing too great. But that would be still 5 times better. That's awesome. And we look back to end the video at the original chart against the dollar. That means you would have outperformed this magnificent increase. I'd like to thank you for tuning in to today's video, and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.